Alrighty, I want to go over how this program works in terms of Guess My Number. Now, a couple of things I've added in the template that you need to be aware of. So when I run the code, you notice that everything that I had there is gone, is no longer displayed because I'm utilizing a special command that I'll show you in a moment. So everything gets cleared, and then basically we have the program header that's being displayed over here. And the other thing is here, just for testing purposes, I am displaying what the number that the system had selected. So when I do my testing, I want to make sure that all the code is basically correct. So then when I enter the values here, so let's say 99, that should be too high, 44 should be too low, and then when I guess the number 83, it basically says it is correct, that you guessed my number. So you notice that the number is being displayed again here in the syntax, and then I have would you like to play again. Now this one is actually very simple, very streamlined, meaning that if you basically select lowercase n, or basically an n, the program will exit. But if you select something else, such as, for example, I'll type in P, and the system will basically once again clear the screen. You notice how it cleared the screen, shows the program header, displays the random number again, and then it basically goes and plays the game again. So it's the 99, 33, and then we'll just do 69, and then when we type in N, right, it basically then exits the program. So in my syntax right now, this particular component here, what that is basically doing is just checking to see the value for n, uppercase or lowercase. Remember, there's basically a setting that converts a uppercase number to a lowercase number, and that's all it is. So when there's an n, it just exits out. Any other value, it just basically plays again. So it's going to be just as simple as that. Now, when we take a look at some elements of the code, I'm not going to show you the entire code. I'm going to show you some elements of the code here. So some of the elements of the code that I have is this. So I have import OS, which is used to clear the screen. So that is basically a module. You might have seen me utilize it in one of the other programs. In the code itself, there is basically a call statement to this particular function. So let's look at how this function works. So when the call function gets called for the message function, it's going to call another function. So a function call another function, which is possible. So clear screen, it comes up here and clears the screen. And this is the syntax, right? So we got a function here to clear the screen. The system will grab to see what operating system you have. If it's a Windows-based machine, then it will utilize the CLS. Otherwise, it will utilize the clear if it's another type of operating system, such as Linux or a Mac. And then from there, it basically is going to print the header. Simple enough. So again, there's a function that calls the message. This message calls the clear screen, which basically clears the screen and then displays the header message there. Now the rest of the code over here is going to be the code needed to that you need to write to display the game, and how to exit out, everything else on that part. So I'm not going to show you that particular part, but I just want to show you how that particular code works. Now the challenge code, I'm going to add a couple more lines to this. And the challenge code, once you're done guessing the number, what the system will do then is it'll keep track, and all it is, believe it or not, is just additional couple lines of keeping track of how many guesses in terms of high, how many guesses low, Now obviously here the sum is not 14 but 15, because when you guess something that's too high, too low, and you guess the right number, so you had basically in this example 14 incorrect guesses and 1 correct guess, so that'd be 15. And then you notice I changed things around ever so slightly in terms of playing again. You could utilize the yes or no option. Here I'm utilizing numbers in terms of this, so the code will be structured just a little bit differently for yes or no. Select your option, so you type in 1 or 2, and that's it, right, for the challenge code. And see what else did I add there. And then if you also want to add any kind of color schemes to this, that'd be good as well. But that's basically what the program is going to be for your basic code. All right, so for your basic code that's required to run this particular program. So believe it or not, this particular program, one of the code, or a section of the code, one of the functions, is going to be basically 18 lines of code to do all this. There is a separate function that I have outlined in the template that basically gets the random number, and that's going to be 3 lines. So there's basically 2 functions that you're going to write. One function is going to be 3 lines where it's basically getting the number, the random number. And then we have another function which is going to be about 18 lines of code that does this, and this is excluding the challenge code and also excluding any additional comments to have in your code. So it's not a complicated program. And one basically big important thing to figure out how the logic of this works is you want to create a flowchart. The flowchart will get you about 80 to 90% there. Very important that you do. Review the information in the beginning here of how to utilize the random function component. Again, it should be a very easy program to complete.